Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and today we're going to talk about the new EPOS H6PRO. This is a $180 headset, comes in 3 different colors, and it's available in an open back and a closed back version. I've tested them as much as I possibly could in the time frame I've had. I've used them extensively, and there's a lot of great stuff I cannot wait to share with you guys. Now, as far as colors go, there's Sebring Black, which is more, it's black, but there has some kind of a nice, subtle navy bluish color to it. Honestly, it's stunning. I love this color because I like black headsets. I like the simplicity of it. And this just adds a little bit of a color, a little bit of a pop without being gaudy or too flashy or anything like that. So if you want something that's just a little different, but not in the wrong ways, this certainly is it. I love that color. Then you have the Ghost White, and this is the open back version, by the way. You can tell if you see this little mesh right here. This is the open back, which I'll explain in much more detail later, the difference between open back and closed back. I have the closed back version in Ghost White. You can tell it's a little bit thicker over here. It's a sealed enclosure, so all the sound is coming forward. Again, I'll dive into that. But the Ghost White's actually really nice too, because you have this really nice bright white, and then you have kind of a slightly off-white, almost creamish color. It's not yellowy or brown or nasty looking in any way, but it has kind of a more luxurious look to it by having that slight alteration of the color there, of the white, being a little darker. And then in the closed back version, you have this leatherette cup to help with the seal, and then that soft suede liner. So whereas on the open back, it's pretty much all that soft suede type material across, because they don't have to make a seal. It's also available in Racing Green, which is kind of like an Aston Martin dark green. Gorgeous, gorgeous green. There's some gold accents to it. I'm showing you the picture now. I didn't get one in person to play with, of course, but I'm fortunate enough to get open and closed back at least. From what I've seen online, the Racing Green is gorgeous as well. I really think the color choice that they picked were great. You have some good options, and it should appease to everybody, and it's not limiting to you whether it's closed or open back. So I like that too. Now, as far as specs go on the H6PRO, both the open back and the closed back have the same frequency response range of 20 to 20,000 hertz. Now, when you compare it to the GSP 601, that's rated for 10 to 30,000 hertz. That doesn't mean everything. Just because it's capable of going that low and that high doesn't always guarantee it's a better sounding speaker, and I'll get into the sound quality comparisons, but I just want to be totally transparent. So the GSP 601, 600, depending on color, rated for 10 to 30,000. These are rated for 20 to 20,000. As far as sensitivity goes, the open back headset has a sensitivity rating of 111 decibels at 1 volt, and that one at 1,000 hertz at 1 volt. The closed back is 117 decibels, and the old closed back is 112. So the new open back, you do lose some of the sensitivity, which means that if you set your volume to 50, this will sound quieter by several decibels than the closed back version. Anywhere from 10 to 20% quieter depending on what you're listening to. It's the way this is tuned, it's the open back nature of it. A little bit less efficient, but you get some other benefits musically and with the soundstage. So this, if you're looking for max volume, I'm bringing this up early in case I lose some if you throughout the review. Higher sensitivity rating means that if you're plugging this into a controller, the closed backs will give you more volume. If you play in a controller and you want as loud of a volume as you can get for gaming, the closed back will likely be your better option. Now on PlayStation, so if you have a PlayStation 5, you're fortunate enough to get one, the DualShock controller gets louder than Xbox, and it drives these no problem at all. I never got to hit max volume comfortably when I was playing on Call of Duty's Warzone, even with the open back. So if you have PlayStation, you're completely open. On Xbox, if you like it loud, I'd consider the closed back just because of the sensitivity difference. They just get a bit louder, and that might be more rewarding for you in your gaming experience. All right, just like the GSP 600 series, the impedance is 28 ohms across the board. That's both the open and closed back models. Now, the microphone follows a similar thing or trend that I saw from the audio output side, meaning that the microphone on the new model, the H6PRO, has a smaller frequency range. It's 10 to 10,000 hertz versus 10 to 20 or 18,000 hertz. So there's a little bit of a loss there on frequency response. However, in my test, the mic actually sounds better, and I'll explain why in a moment. I'm just saying it to be upfront and honest, but don't base your assumption on sound quality on that alone. So part of the reason why I like the new mic more is the sensitivity is dramatically better. It's negative 35 dB sensitivity, which basically means that if there's an audio source playing at a certain measured output, how much of that signal is lost on the mic pickup side. On the new headset, it's only minus 35 decibels, and on the old one, the GSP 600s, those are minus 47 decibel sensitivity loss. I know I'm simplifying the way it's measured a lot, but at the end of the day, the difference is noticeable, especially on the console side where you can't adjust your mic sensitivity, or depending on your computer, instead of just plugging and playing on the older GSPs, you might have had to tweak that a little bit to boost the signal. This is a huge advantage on console gaming. So on Xbox and PlayStation, if you have a weaker mic, there's not a lot you can do with mic sensitivity on the console side. And on Xbox, it's super limited for adjustments unless you have a game that happens to let you change it. So I actually prefer the new mic a lot, especially for console gaming, because that extra sensitive pickup means that you're not shouting as much for your friends to hear you. You sound more natural, more clear, there's less distortion, etc. Now going into the microphone specs, I'm just going to get right to it and we'll plug this in. I'll start talking to you on the mic so you can hear the difference. And then I'll switch over to the GSP 600 series so you can hear how that sounds and you can kind of understand what I'm getting at. Okay, now I'm talking to you on the EPOS H6PRO headset microphone. And normally I do this part on video in front of the camera so you can see it happening in real time. However, my mic gain was set way too hot during the video shoot, and as a result I added some distortion that's not really there with this microphone. So to be fair and give you the most accurate representation of this mic quality, I re-recorded it. I'm using a fixed gain on that shit Hell 2 amp DAC, and this is being recorded through Adobe Audition. So I'm not modifying the sound in any way, flat gain, and I'm going to switch over to the GSP 601 so you can hear the difference, but as you can tell, the H6PRO has really good warmth to it. It's still very clear regardless of what the frequency chart suggests. I really like the sound quality of this. So I'm going to switch over to the other headset now. Okay, so now I'm talking to you on the EPOS GSP 601 headset microphone that I have. And this has a slightly more open voice sound to it. It doesn't sound as bassy or warm. It's a very neutral, very sterile sound. However, it's still very clear. Both microphones are excellent. They just have different tonal characteristics. Now, from a gaming perspective, I like the warmth of the H6PRO microphone more. This microphone is pretty flexible because you can always EQ it and add some more bass if you want to add warmth later, but out of the box I like the H6PRO microphone more. With the GSP 601 I did notice that it picks up background noise just slightly more. It just has to do with the way the microphone's tuned, and because it has that higher frequency response it can capture that as well. So with that being said, those are both the microphones. All right, let me know what you think of the microphones down below. I think they're both great mics, but I do love the way they sound. The H6PRO mic is no joke. It sounds so natural, and when I first started chat with my buddies on it, I got, ooh, first time. I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Coyle because he was the first one to respond, and that was a good time. So I'm enjoying listening to these, and just before I get into the sound, because I have no idea how long that part's going to take, I'm excited to talk about sound, but I want to quickly touch on the comfort. I alluded to it earlier. Basically, this leatherette pad is nice and supple. It uses memory foam ear cups, which are replaceable, as is the cord. Everything's detachable. And I want to show you a really cool little party trick about this headset. So as I mentioned, there are a few things that are detachable. This cord is going into my amp DAC combo right now from a company called Schit, SCHIIT. It's the Hell 2. It's a $200 amp DAC. Love that DAC for gaming. But that's going straight into that. So detachable cord, replaceable if you have problems. And instead of just plugging in, meaning that the stress of the wire can damage the port on the headset, there's a lot of custom port here going on, or the plug is proprietary, and it inserts deep into the headset, which means all the stress and pull and tug isn't going to damage the jack built into the headphones. So if for any reason this fails and it's a braided cable, you can buy a replacement online. And there's actually two different types. So one also on the H6PRO, if you get it in white, you actually get a white cord now. On the GSPs, you used to get a black cord no matter what. So this cord is included. It's a longer cable. And on the PC side, you actually get the headphone and microphone. And then, of course, this goes into the headset. You also get a white console version. This is the black console version. So I'm just showing you both types, both colors. Now the console plug again, goes into the headset, but then you have a TRRS combo port. Let's see if I can get that in focus. So this is going to plug into your controller or laptop that has a combo port, or an amp DAC that uses everything built in. So you get options, and both of them are included. Now, for any reason, if you decide you want to do podcasting, or you don't need the mic, and for any reason, this is the coolest way to remove a gaming mic I've seen yet. It's magnetic. Check this out. See how painless that was? And now it is an audiophile style headphone instead of just a gaming headset. And all I have to do is snap that little piece on, and it just looks like headphones. It looks clean, and it's a piece of cake to snap back on. I did notice, because I tried to see if the mic would just fall off with heavy adjustment. They got the magnetic force just right. There's actually 2 magnets on this, and when you put it in, I've flipped to mute, no problem. And this is the little click point. It works solid. I've never had it just fall out. So the microphone strength is excellent, but if you really want it to come off, it's not hard at all. So they did a phenomenal job. You could tell that they took everything they learned about the prior headset, and they're like, how can we make it better? This is lighter. This is just over 300 grams, like 309 grams versus nearly 395 on the old model. And that's on the open back. Closed back is like 315, 320 grams. It's only slightly heavier because it's a little more plastic. But comfort is phenomenal. I love these ear cups because they're huge. This does not swivel, so it's not going to lay flat on your chest, unfortunately. But that's just the way the hinge design is. They do rotate, so you can get it to fit the shape of your head. And the clamp force is significantly less than the old GSPs. The GSPs have a really intimate bass. It's a heavy bass because they're like jamming the cup on your ear. It's one of the strongest clamp forces I've had under $200. But now you get a softer clamp. You still get this amazing memory foam ear cup, and everything just feels right. And on the open back especially, I could wear this for hours and hours and hours and not have ear fatigue. That open back is amazing for comfort. Now it's time to talk about sound quality. I've been dying to get to this part. That's why I had to get everything out of the way. I'm really hoping I keep this short enough for you all, so sorry in advance. I love the sound of these headphones, both the open back and the closed. The open back is just a whole nother level of natural sound. So as a quick comparison, if anyone out there is watching and you've used the GSP 600 series, the closed back that where EPOS worked with Sennheiser in the past, those have more of a deeper, thunderous bass. You know, if you're using a home theater system, and I mentioned this in my review of that one, it's more like listening to it with a subwoofer. You had that nice deep rumble. Everything's really good on it. It's a nice flat sound. It's not crazy bright or too detailed. It's just nice and forgiving sound. As a competitive gamer, if you are a competitive gamer, I feel like I try. But they're looking for the most competitive edge. You watching want to give yourself the most competitive edge you can. Sound is a huge part of that. But ear fatigue works to the detriment of that extra detail. If you go too bright, too detailed, too harsh, you can't turn it up as loud, because as soon as you fire that gun or some explosion happens, you hurt your ears, you turn it down a little bit, or you damage your ears, your pick. But as a result, now you're starting to lose some of the dynamics of that sound. What EPOS does is they focus on fatigue-free gaming. This is like they found a way to make the sound brighter and more clear and more detailed without adding the ear fatigue and pain. That's insane. Because the last one I could game on for a long time and my ears never hurt. Somehow this is just as detailed, if not more detailed, than most of my gaming headsets, but it doesn't hurt at all, even at louder volumes. At that point, it's only because I made it too loud. It wasn't because it was too harsh. The open backs have an incredibly natural open sound to them. The sound stage is actually comparable to the closed back, believe it or not. They both have an excellent sound stage, and what I mean by that is the sound's not coming from the center of your head. You still have a pretty good surround effect, if you will, or openness to the music, the game, whatever you're listening to. It just sounds more alive. These just have a more natural frequency response. So if you plot it out, the way these are tuned, everything just sounds right. When you listen to music, this compares much more closely to audiophile headphones that are music focused, while still being incredibly good gaming headphones. Now, you're probably asking, why would I consider the closed backs? Well, there's a couple of reasons. One, I already mentioned before, the closed backs are louder. If you're an Xbox console gamer and you don't have some kind of custom amp DAC, One option is you get the Astro Mix Amp Pro if you need more juice. But if you are an Xbox gamer and you need higher volume, the closed back is just going to give you a little bit extra. So on a quiet game or a quiet moment, you get more room to work with. On PlayStation, doesn't matter as much. This is really good if you like to hear your surroundings. So because it's open, I can hear myself speaking crystal clear. The sound passes right through. The only downside to this is if you're playing in an area, for any reason you're playing next to someone who's sleeping, they're going to hear it. If the mic is on an open back headset, if your volume is cranked, it's really loud, the microphone can and will, I've tested this, pick up some of the audio coming out of the headphones. So if you get to extreme volumes, your teammates will hear some of that get picked up. That's not to the fault of this headphone. It's the way open back is. And this is kind of like low, medium, high volumes. It's totally fine. No one's going to care. You can game on it, no problem. And then if you're doing music production, podcasting, video editing later, like what I do, now you flip it up and you have this amazing natural sound. So this isn't the pure gaming focused headset. It sounds incredible, but there are limitations to open back. Conversely, if you're at a tournament and there's a lot of people nearby, because it does audio pass through, you're going to hear more of the noise around you. This doesn't isolate the noise. It's designed to be open and airy and transparent. So it's good for certain situations. Quiet room, just you. You don't blast it all the time. You're going to have an incredible listening experience with the open backs. When I go back and forth, I tend to prefer the sound of the open back because I like that natural sound. However, even though I put these on, I'm like, well, that sounds a little different. This has more of your signature. I can't even wear these much when I'm talking because it does block out so much noise. This is closer to what a higher end gaming headset sounds like. And I'm not saying it in a bad way because it's priced accordingly. It's $180, so it's comparable to a lot of other brand gaming headsets from Astro, Turtle Beach, you name it. But it sounds better for music. These are much more capable for music. This is more of your hyper-focused sound for gaming. So the way I can describe a closed back sound versus an open back is how I'm talking to you now. A closed back like this is kind of like I'm still talking the same way, same driver, same mouth, but I'm doing this. And by doing this, I'm changing the way my sound is coming out of my mouth. I'm focusing it more. This gives you that little extra focus on sound in the footstep and gunshot and brightness area. So from a pure music standpoint, you'll like the open backs more, but I found I was more competitive with the closed back because I had just a little bit more of an edge or a little more brightness on the highs for competitive gaming. Now, the other advantage to a closed back, going the opposite of the open, is because I have that sound isolation, I don't hear other people as much. So if you're in a tournament, LAN party, you play in a noisy area, you got people running around talking behind you, this is going to give you a much better listening experience because now you're not competing with all those sounds. Also, if you turn it up very loud at night because you're trying to be competitive and you're worried about the microphone picking it up, very unlikely your party is going to hear you or hear your game through this mic. So it does a great job on noise isolation. I found from a pure music standpoint, those are better, but for more focused gaming, if 90% of your use case is gaming, this is a better version, in my opinion, because it gives you a little bit more of an edge, whereas the open is just a very open, flat sound. Sounds incredible. I really do like them both. I don't want to say one's better than the other because it just depends on how you're going to use it, but I can tell you they share a lot of the same stuff. Similar sound quality, as far as the way the bass sounds, the way the highs are, this just has a little bit different sound tuning in that mid to low treble. But overall, love these headphones. I will touch on the volume dial real quick. I don't know if the camera's picking this up. Let's try it with the black one, or the darker one. You can see those little teeth. This is incredibly easy to adjust. You can see how quick I can get the volume to dial in, and it's not even on my head. So on the GSPs, which are a much stiffer volume dial, this one is, exactly where it is, and I have a hard stop, max and min. The minimum volume doesn't go full mute. It goes to like 5 or 10% volume because apparently people were complaining that they thought their headset didn't work when it was because the volume was turned down and they didn't know why they weren't getting sound. So they always transmit sound. They're extremely low. If you need it muted, just take them off or unplug them. But then max volume, and they get loud with the right amp. So that's the sound quality. That's the comfort. That's the mic, the specs. And this was a long review, but I am super passionate about sound, and this is like another level under $200. The only thing that's ever come close to this was the PC38X, which also has its roots with Sennheiser EPOS stuff. So this is, to me, one of the best sub $200 headphones I've ever heard for gaming. It has an incredible mic, incredible comfort, and the sound tuning to me is damn near perfect. I really don't know what else to suggest under 200 if you can deal with a wire. It doesn't get much better than this. So strong words, but I stand by it. I have probably 40 to 50 headphones right now, and this has been one of my favorites I've listened to for gaming. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. These just came out. I'll put links in the description below. I don't know what the stock situation is like, but I'll have links to Amazon. It will support the channel because we buy a lot of our stuff. And if you want to, great. If not, buy it wherever you can get it because it's a great headphone. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, shoot me a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe because we have a lot of good audio stuff. I'm really excited. I mentioned the Schiit Hell 2 amp DAC. I'm going to be reviewing that shortly. So if you're curious what a good DAC can do to your sound, we'll talk about that. Anyway, thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll see you next time.